Hi there, it's Heather from Earth Mama, and today's video is about lettuce. I'm going to show you how I harvest my lettuce using the cut and come again method. I'm going to show you how to treat a common pest and also talk a little bit about the drought conditions that we've been experiencing in Southwestern Ontario and how that can be very hard for a cool weather crop like lettuce. Very happy to see these little fellas. So the benefit of open pollinated seed is that last year I had some really delicious lettuce and I let it go to seed. And the seeds landed in this kind of area here. And you can see now that we're starting to have little baby lettuce plants come up. And I think that is just so awesome. Today is Sunday, April 6th, I believe, 5th or 6th, something like that. Hard to tell when you're on self-isolation what day it is anymore. There's all kinds of them. Each one of these is going to be a little lettuce. There's one there. Anyway, happy to see those little fellas for sure. They're going to be a welcome addition to my garden in the next few weeks. So while I'm here, just a little update on the lettuce. I believe I mentioned before that the advantage of open pollinated seeds is that the seeds will germinate true. These are seeds that fell out of my lettuce last year that was growing right over there, and they reseeded themselves and they will be my lettuce crop for this year. These are the lettuce that I talked about last week that self-seeded themselves, and they are looking really good. They are very close to being able to be picked. There's my dog, Lando. So I'm going to talk about what I do to treat one problem in the garden, which is slugs, which I've just noticed on my lettuce. So this is the culprit right here, and I won't have to go very far to show you that they are literally everywhere, and that's not good. See, they're over there. I don't know if it's this time of night or because we just had rain for the first time in several days, but I don't want these guys eating my lettuce. So what I'm going to do is actually treat them with this stuff that is called Diatomaceous Earth. That's the way I pronounce it. Red Lake brand is that one, and what it is crushed up crustacean shells is my understanding of what it is. And it's got fine particles. It's all natural. I don't know if it's organic or not, but so this product is used as a anti-parasitic in animal feed, and it's really good on soft skinned organisms. So all I'm going to do, it's just like a fine powder. I'm going to dust it on all of my lettuce, but especially on where I see those guys. And probably what's going to happen if we get the rain that we're hoping for is that'll get washed off. And I'll have to wash that lettuce extra carefully the next time that I make the salad. But that's okay. It's not a chemical. It's just a really fine particle. But the actual molecules in this stuff are sharp. There's Ivy. She's coming to check it out. And slugs don't like it. I'm just gonna throw a bit on my beets there too. It's funny because as soon as I dusted that stuff on there, all of the slugs disappeared. Can't actually see anymore. See how they're reacting to it. Oh, there's one. Hey, buddy. Sorry that I had to do that to you. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't happen right away. He definitely seems like he's trying to get away from it. And he's not eating. Alright, so we'll leave it at that for now. And I'll come back and check on them tomorrow. So by the time we get into the full sun part of the day, you can see that the lettuce is starting to wilt a little bit. So one of the first things that happens with the drought, and especially the high temperatures that we've been getting, is that leafy greens like lettuces will start to bolt. What that means is the stem will start to come up, and what it's gearing up to do is produce a flower shoot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because we want lots of seed out of all this lettuce. And so what I've been doing this week is watering twice a day. Once in the morning when the shade is still on my garden. You can see the sun is starting to get onto it. And then once again in the evening. Another thing that I just wanted to touch on briefly is these beautiful blue skies that we've been having. Because there's no planes, or not as many, and not as much emissions, we don't have that smog that we're used to. We don't have the humidity, and I think that's one of the reasons that we're not getting the rain. Normally I have a rain barrel set up and water out of that, but this year there hasn't been anything. Just as I came out the door, I could see the cardinal. Oh, so for the cut and come again method, what we're actually going to do is I like to park my bowl of water right beside my lettuce leaves. And you can see that these lettuce leaves have recovered really nicely from the slug infestation that we had. And now their main problem is the heat. So if you plunge those leaves into the cold right away, it's going to be extremely helpful in preventing them from wilting. And I'm just taking enough to do a salad for myself for lunch. And I like salad. And I'm taking a salad like this about twice a day out of my garden patch at this time. You can see how tall these lettuce plants are getting. And the reason for that is that they are bolting. And what that means is that they're shooting up a stem to put a flower on. And that's going to be how they create seed. Now, I'm not opposed to them creating seed. I want the seed. So after a few more days of harvesting in this method, I'm probably gonna let some plants produce their flower, produce their seed, so that I can get my crop going for next year. These are my beets here. Beet leaves are also nice in salad. Isn't that how healthy looking that is? You don't want to add too many beet leaves because I find that it does restrict the size of your beets, and you never want to take more than one from the same plant. Ideally, you would try to get the younger, tender, greener plants. Put some of those in. I'm going to add some of this kale as well. And also a little bit of this lemon basil. Very nice in a salad. Lastly, this plant here is a wild lamb's quarter. I like wild lamb's quarters. They are delicious, especially in eggs. And finally, the last thing I'm going to take is some cilantro for flavor. Also to keep the cilantro plants from bolting a little bit longer. Okay, just pushing everything down. So what I like doing is just rinsing off the leaves individually with cold water and drying them off. You'll want to use a dish towel. Didn't have one handy, so for the sake of this video, I'm just showing you on a piece of paper towel. So this is what I ended up with. And you will not find a fresher selection of greens to make a salad with. So what I'm going to do is just chop that up and put it right back into my bowl. So that's it, guys. That's all I can think of to tell you about lettuce right now. If you do have any questions, please post them in the comments. And if you're interested in following along as the summer wears on in Southwestern Ontario, to see what I do as far as canning and preserving of all of that good garden goodness that's out there, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel.